Shifu? Good time? Bad time?
Time is an illusion. There is only the now.
So now's a good time?
Oh.
Well, I really didn't think the World of Warcraft movie was going to focus on the pandas.
Neither did I. It seemed to take the Mist of Pandaria to a whole nother level.
It's kind of come full circle because I remember when Mr. Pandaria was announced, people were comparing it to Kung Fu Panda.
And then when Kung Fu Panda came out, they were like, oh, this is just completely taken out of Warcraft's ideas. Not that the panda is not a Chinese symbol or Kung Fu is not a Chinese symbol either. Just completely different things, just copied off each other, yeah.
Yeah, they're the only thing that pandas have ever had to do with, ever.
Exactly.
So yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3. I gotta say, never thought this would get to be a full trilogy. When I watched the first one back, god damn, I can't even remember when the first one came out, what, 2007 or something?
I think it was something a while ago, yeah, definitely. And
definitely
then
a while ago.
at the end of the second one, it kind of left it open. But I mean, there's a big gap between the second one and the third one. I'm sure
just looking here, actually, there's been a fair gap between all of them. Kung Fu Panda came out in 2008.
All right.
2 came out in 2011. And then we've got this one, obviously, in 2016. Yeah, it is 2016, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
It's March, and I've still not got used to calling. Like, I still often say, oh, yeah, it's 2015.
I think within the first month of the new year, I'm always writing on documents 2015. I think, oh crap, I have to go back and change all those. But I'm there now. I'm fully.
Yeah, I might catch on by like August. But we'll see. Yeah, so yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3. And I gotta say again, like I didn't think Kung Fu Panda would get 3 movies. I didn't really think there was a story to tell past the first one necessarily.
I think the first one was really well done. I especially like the intro animation, which was very similar. Had all the hallmarks of kind of Samurai Jack. I remember it kind of.
I remember that.
It got praised for that, and even the rest of the film was really good, really decent. The voice acting was good. The action scenes and the story were kind of, not bad. I mean, it's nothing kind of groundbreaking, but don't forget the target audience essentially is just children. And
I always thought Kung Fu Panda was a better kung fu movie than it was a funny kids film.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I always thought like the action was the best part of it. I thought the jokes were kind of like, yeah, so it was okay. It wasn't like the sharpest film I've ever seen, but the kind of action scenes were always really cool, I thought.
Well, I mean, it's definitely carried over to the second one and the third one as well. The action scenes I thought were really good, especially when we get into kind of discussing the bad guy and the main good guy and how they all kind of go together and everything. I agree. I enjoyed kind of the kung fu scenes. Still things to me, it's a kids' film before it's a kung fu film, definitely.
Yeah, it is. And I think I remember I was talking to a guy, a friend of mine, and I was saying, oh yeah, I want to see Kung Fu Panda. Jesus, it's a bit of a fucking mouthful. Kung Fu Panda 3, and he was like, oh yeah, I've heard it's better than the second one. And I was like, was the second one not well thought of? Because I remember thinking it was like a steady improvement over the first.
Okay, I've not really heard much in terms of what critics or what the general fan base thought of the second one, but for me, the first one was definitely better than the second one. Not to mention that the second one's any bad or anything. I thought the pacing was better, the storyline was better. I think the second one just seemed darker almost because there's
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, they got Gary Oldman to be the villain, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. It's not a good sign, is it?
Definitely more, definitely darker. But I mean, like, I remember thinking the second one when I watched the second one, thinking, oh yeah, I think I like that better. But I can't remember very much about it, and yet I know the first one inside and out.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think the first one, I could give you kind of a play-by-play what happens. The second one, maybe the first half I could tell you, and maybe the end sequence, but then in between it's very kind of grey. I'm not really sure kind of what goes on there.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. All I remember is Gary Oldman was a menacing peacock who tried to wipe out pandas.
Yeah, just a racist peacock, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. Kind of peacock supremacist. But yeah, Kung Fu Panda, it's a bit of a weird one. It's always kind of, it leaves things open enough, or at least it seems to. to get a sequel, like to squeeze a sequel out of the franchise.
Yeah.
But it never seems to have. Definitely doesn't have an overarching plot. It's not like. It doesn't feel like Toy Story, which Toy Story feels very natural, even though I imagine that's probably a similar thing where they've just kind of invented it as they've gone along, whereas this very much feels like they've just invented new things for him to do.
Yeah. I think the whole thing with Toy Story is just the kids growing up and moving on. That's, I guess, the central theme.
It has like a natural arc, whereas this is, oh, well, who the fuck can we get him to fight now?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. When I was going into this film, I thought, who's the bad guy? He's fought, essentially, a tiger. He's fought a peacock, and then I was just thinking in my head, what else is like a badass animal?
What other animal have we not seen yet?
Yeah, what have we not seen that's kind of, indigenous to China, or very kind of synonymous to China? And kind of, I thought it was going to be a red panda or something, but I thought, no, that's his master, the Dustin Hoffman character. I thought, that's not going to be him then, is it?
Well, it's kind of like the first one he fights like the greatest warrior in China, and comes up. Then he fights like the emperor of China.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay. So where do they go?
Where do they go from here? And then the third one is just like the Grand Master of everything, essentially.
Like kind of like a demon lord from the netherworld, essentially. Like, yeah, why not? It's a natural progression.
From the twisting nether, then, is particularly from Warcraft.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a tie-in. So yeah, the Kung Fu Panda 3, the general story is you've got Po, he's existing as like the Dragon Warrior with the Furious Five, training and everything, going through life as you do in ancient China, where animals roam about all over the place. And he meets another panda, voiced by Bryan Cranston, whose name is Lee something.
Lee Shen, I think it was.
Lee Shen. So
I remember.
He just gets called Lee after the initial fucking opening. And while they're kind of connecting over both being pandas, because Po obviously thinks he's the last one alive, there's like another plot where this ancient warrior called Kai, who had been banished to the netherworld by Oogway, who's the turtle from the original film, back in the past, and he spent his years in the nether realm kind of harvesting all the souls of the great masters who have passed into there as like a revenge plot, and he plans to come back to Earth, to China, and kind of fuck it up, basically. That covers most bases.
That is pretty much the premise of the entire film, yeah. So and then it's just and then there's the other part of the film is the reunion between Po and his father. Yeah,
I was trying to really skirt around the fact that it was like meeting his father, but the trailer gives it away, so...
Yeah, I mean, I think it was always inevitably going to happen because of the way the second one ended. It was his father basically saying, oh wait, he's still alive, and then it just ends.
Yeah, it does, it really does, yeah.
And then it's of him just goes off to fight him.
It even shows you the kind of cartoon flashback of when he was abandoned from the second one in this film.
Yeah.
It even has a flash of Gary Oldman's Peacock character in that cartoon, because I want to see this with Kelly, and she'd never seen the second one, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the bad guy from like the second one, and she's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, I'll take you for it.
But yeah, like, it's... Considering like the second one seemed, the main plot is obviously meeting his family and everything, and then obviously like you've got Kai, who's voiced by J.K. Simmons, although not immediately apparent at first. That took me a while to place his voice.
I didn't realise till I think I finished the film and I saw the credits. I was like, oh wow, it's J. Jonah Jameson plays the voice of Kai.
He'll be forever known as that, just because he was so perfect in the part.
It's just incredibly perfect. But I think he did really well. I think of all the villains, like the first one played by the chap out of Deadwood, I forget his name.
Ian McShane.
That's it. Second one played by Gary Oldman, as you say. And the third one was J.K. Simmons. I think I prefer J.K. Simmons as the bad guy voice. I think he did a terrific job.
He was really good. He was kind of menacing, but he had a lot of humour in him as well. Like, he was as funny as anybody else in the film, I thought. Like,
yeah, and I think that's what was kind of missing from the previous films. Or if it was humour, it was very kind of dark and, maybe twisted humour. This was kind of like he was getting annoyed because people didn't realise who he was, and
I like the big running gag is like nobody knows who the fuck he is, and that's one of the things that really pisses him off, because no one knows. He was such a great warrior, yet nobody knows about him because of his banishment.
And that's the thing. Oogway said that when you get banished, no one's going to remember what you did. I'm going to kind of make sure that your name gets erased from everything. And he was kind of realising, I guess, that Oogway lived up to kind of what he said, and it seemed kind of.
But like, all I could think of, oh god, all I could think of when Night Running Gag was going on, it was funny in itself, but what made it even funnier was all I could think of is the Ronnie Pickering videos.
Yeah. You could probably dub them over like Ronnie Pickering, who? Ronnie Pickering!
Just when he was like, I'm Kai, and people were like, who? And it's like, me, I'm Kai. And I just made it really, really fucking funny.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see if we can get a dub over that. That'd be quite good.
I thought it was awesome. But yeah, like this is very. I mean, you said it about the first one. It's very much a kids' film before a kung fu film, and I think that's kind of true of this one as well. This feels like it's probably. I felt like this one was maybe the silliest of all of the films because of like the just abundance of kind of clumsy pandas doing clumsy panda shit.
Yeah, I think so. I think there was very kind of slapstick comedy, with especially this kind of pandas that are just rolling about, and it's like a dopey panda or a,
oh god, like they skirted around it. He was fucking retarded.
I didn't want to use the R word, but now that you said it, yeah, I'll agree. Completely off his head.
Oh, honestly, God, like there was, he was blatantly retarded.
But he had all the tropes as well. He kind of spoke with the voice, and he had kind of teeth missing, and he looked really
people fucking like crushing hugs. Like you got
exactly.
God, I don't know whether I should say this, but he had the retard strength going on.
Exactly, of Panda and Men. Ever read the book?
Of the what?
Of Panda and Men.
Oh God. Yeah, he definitely was the fucking Lenny of the Panda Village.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like this was a kids' film, but at the same time, it was like definitely the silliest of all of them. But at the same time, I kind of was like chuckling all the way through it. Like it was really charming and kind of like just enjoyable and fun.
Yeah, it didn't take itself too seriously, and the jokes worked on the most part. And the other thing I really liked about this one is the Furious 5 had, to me, a much bigger part to play. Like they spoke a lot more.
They still went in it a lot, but I know what you mean. They actually did something in this movie.
Like the first film, you kind of hype up to the Furious 5, they're like these kind of mythical warriors, and you know they're the best in the valley, and they protect all of China. And you don't really see all that much, to be fair. I mean, when the bad guy comes and he beats the hell out of them all, fair enough. And then the second one, again, I don't know if it's just the second film in general, I just don't remember their part at all.
God, neither do I. I always remember Angelina Jolie's Tigress always gets a bigger part than anybody else.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, it did in this one, but that's not to say that the others didn't have any of the limelight, like especially Mantis, played by Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Is it the Crane?
By David Cross.
That's it, the Crane. They had kind of a little partnership going on where they were kind of trying to find Kai. They were kind of tracing him down, trying to find out what he was up to. And even Monkey, voiced by Jackie Chan. The other thing was when the film first came out, the original one, I remember saying Jackie Chan was going to be playing a character, and I was like, oh wow, I've never heard Jackie Chan in like an animated film. I wonder what it's going to be like. And he had like
2 lines
or something. And I mean, he didn't have that many more lines this time, but he had a much bigger kind of role. He was in a lot more of the comedy, and his character kind of did a lot more as well. And you could definitely tell, oh yeah, that's Jackie Chan. You know, that's kind of...
Yeah. Well, shit, like Lucy Liu does the snake Viper. She does Viper's voice. So do you not get the impression though they get these kind of reasonably well-known people to do the voices purely because they're only going to be in like the recording booth for an hour? They can kind of turn up, do it, and then leave.
They could probably chuck the budget at them and say, yeah, it's not going to hurt us too much. They don't need to have them sitting around the table and reading script lines off each other. They can just come in, say the lines, and off they go.
Adding to the cast in this one, I mean, you've got, we mentioned Bryan Cranston plays Lee, Poe's father. You've obviously got Dustin Hoffman's been in all of the movies at this point.
Yeah.
And you've got Kate Hudson even doing a voice as Mei Mei, the panda who likes to do the ribbon dancing.
Yeah. It took me a while to figure out who it was, but I think after she was dancing with Poe and throwing up, I clicked who it was. I was like, oh wow, yeah, it's Kate Hudson.
Yeah, you don't really see her much these days.
No. It's good to see that she's still out there, still alive. She hasn't do anything.
Yeah, like what was the last film she made? Well, the last film I think I saw was that Fool's Gold with Matthew McConaughey, which was like meant to be a lame rom-com, adventure rom-com, kind of like Romance in the Stone, but not good.
I can't remember that time I saw it. It's been a long time. I think it was Skeleton Key or something. Like, I'm sure she was in that one, wasn't she? With the voodoo people.
God, I only vaguely remember that movie.
That was years and years.
It was a long time ago. God damn.
The only reason I say this is because my wife likes to think she looks like Kay Hudson, and I just kind of entertain the idea. I don't know if it's true.
Of course you do, love. Of course you do. But yeah, like the voice cast get a lot more time to shine. I really like Bryan Cranston in the part of Lee. I thought he was good.
I didn't know how he was going to play it, but he played more like the dad from Malcolm in the Middle than Heisenberg from Breaking Bad.
I was going to say that. I think these days you expect him to be fucking Walter White, but
because that's exactly what he's known for. But he has so much range, to be fair.
He's awesome.
I honestly, I'm going to forever remember him as Hal from Malcolm in the Middle, just because he played that part so well. And
I was when that series was big back 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. I always remember thinking like the dad is Hal is the best character in that show by like a country mile.
He's like the fifth kid essentially.
He was always, if he was like the main character of an episode, it was always going to be like a good episode.
Yeah, because he was just as daft as like the kids, and he would still be under like his Mrs. Thumb, she'd still be her in that respect and stuff, and he'd always try to hide stuff from her and everything, and it's really, really great. And it was good to kind of see that transfer over to Kung Fu Panda, because he kind of had that hallmark, of the
bumbling father,
yeah.
Because like the pandas are all kind of essentially big children. Like they just do, like all they do is eat and sleep and fuck around all day. They don't have any responsibility, and they've devolved to the point where they've lost their culture through sloth. Like they don't remember all the ancient kind of arts their people practiced back in ancient times.
Yeah,
because they've just basically
just
neglected duty through sloth and just sleeping until noon, and they've just devolved to the point where they're happy to hide in the mountains and eat dumplings.
It's not a bad life when you think about it, really.
It's not, actually. I was quite jealous. It looked a nice place. But yeah, like the voice cast gets pretty good. I mentioned like J.K. Simmons is really good as the villain. Bryan Cranston does a good job. It's nice to see James Hong as his father, the noodle shop owner. His name escapes me.
Yeah, Mr. Ping, I think it is. Mr. Ping the Goose. Yeah, he played it really well, because I was wondering like how was he going to be quite welcoming to the new panda father, but I mean he kind of played it as you would expect. He was very against the whole idea. He wasn't convinced initially, and then there was that bit of time where he said, okay, you can go with your father. Then he tags along with them secretly, and he tries to convince his son that he's the dad and this guy's just an imposter. And then the old trope where the two dads in the end kind of come together and look after the son and bring him up to be the best he can be, and everyone together. And I like the bit where they kind of fight together. Like,
that was a lot of fun, actually.
Bryan Cranston's character has got the goose essentially sellotaped to his stomach, and they just run around with pots and pans, just slapping around the enemies. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, it was good. But you bring up an interesting point, saying that that it kind of is the old trope. This film like lives and breathes on tropes. There's not a surprise in here.
No, not at all. But it doesn't need to be, and I don't think that kind of detracts anything from the film.
No, it certainly doesn't. I still really enjoyed it. It's a very kind of cookie cutter storyline, but it's funny enough, and the action's enjoyable, and the animation was particularly gorgeous. I thought like there was some just the general quality of it and the vibrant colours used and the art style.
Absolutely fantastic, especially when you're using like the chi techniques, and you'd see these kind of shapes with this kind of mystical energy, and like the falling blossoms, and just even the general action sequences were just really well done and really well kind of, I don't know if you could say choreographed or orchestrated. I don't know what you'd use in that context, but it was
it's a kind of strange thing because it's animated, it's kind of abstract, but you're right, it's really probably the biggest strength of this movie is how it looks. It is gorgeous.
It is great, and I think the action scenes as well, coming back onto that, were probably my favourite from the entire 3 films.
Yeah, they weren't kind of overly silly, but
I mean, they did really get silly till I guess the end. I mean, there was a little bit in the middle when the bad guy takes control of a couple of the characters and focuses it against the other ones. But it wasn't kind of too much on that. And then even at the end, the silliness was kind of part of the charm of it, as you will.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't like poor belly bouncing people and stuff like it was in the first one. It was like a bit more ambitious with its physical humour. But Yeah, I gotta say, I came into this movie not really knowing what to expect, because I remember liking the second one, but not remembering much about it. And I thought, oh, maybe the third one, is this going to be like a Shrek 3? Because let's face it, it is DreamWorks again.
Yeah, I was worried about that. I thought if this is another Shrek, then it's game over, isn't it?
But I really enjoyed it, like way more than probably a man in his late 20s should when he goes to see it unaccompanied by children. But yeah, I just found I was kind of chuckling to myself all the way through. I think there was probably there was a few actual genuine laughs buried in there as well. But it was just a film that I was watching and I really enjoyed. It met my expectations of being a really enjoyable family film.
Yeah.
It's not particularly outstanding if you kind of judge it as a serious film or anything like that. But it seems to accomplish everything it sets out to do. In that it's a fun 90 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely kind of an enjoyable waste of time is a nice way of putting it. I think it's just a lot of the animation, as you say, is really well done. The fight scenes I think they're more memorable than all the other ones because of the way they were kind of done. The voice acting, all the cast and the characters get kind of a decent slice. There isn't anyone that's kind of overlooked as they may have been in the previous ones.
I thought maybe in that regard, the one person who definitely did not feature as much as he had done was Dustin Hoffman. Like, Shifu was not in that film very much.
I think because he had such a big part in the previous two,
yeah, I think
they had to kind of
right.
maybe trim that out. But I mean, he still kind of played a big role, and he kind of was there with the fight sequences, and he was there kind of guiding Poe at the beginning as well.
Yeah, he certainly wasn't shortchanged. He just, he was obviously a big star for them to get originally, and they used him as much as they could, whereas he takes a bit of a back seat. But you're right in saying it gives other characters kind of a chance to step up and fill the screen time he otherwise would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kung Fu Panda 3 was far better than I expected. I don't know. I'm not sure whether do you want to give scores on the podcast or discuss?
I don't know how we do that. I'm happy to give a score if we.
Well, we're kind of over the last year. Simon has developed a percentage-based score system, and we average them out. So we all have individual scores as like our personal recommendation.
Final kind of average count, yeah.
Yeah, except it seems like it's very heavily weighted into the top end. So like, I don't know if there's a film that's got below like 70% thus far, which seems very fucking high to me when some of the films that have been judged. But because I was looking through the overall ratings, and I think I dragged some of them down by a couple of points just by my ratings.
Sometimes you have to be honest with yourself, though. I mean, you can look at some things with rose-tinted glasses, especially if you haven't seen them for a while.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I think if I'm going to give us this film a score, probably match what the critics have been saying. It's about 7.5 or 75% out of 100.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I was thinking about it kind of looking to use the whole scale. I'd like say maybe like 70, 75%, 70%. I was going to go for. So it's a solid film. It's not groundbreaking, but it certainly hits every beat it intended to. So
yeah,
it comes very, very recommended in my eyes.
Absolutely.